What's going on, good people? Let me know if I'm good. Give me a thumbs up. If the visual's good, if the audio's good, let me get a thumbs up for that. How's everybody doing? Happy early Thanksgiving to everybody. Appreciate y'all for coming out and hanging out with me. But let me know if I'm good, man. We can get right into it. The New York Giants versus the Dallas Cowboys. Thank you very much for the thumbs up. Shout out to everybody in the building. Make sure you hit that like button. Thank you, Jamise, my man Clinton Jones in the building. Shout out to the homie John May in the building. Said need to open the stream with some Jeezy for lock. That's a fact. We gonna get into that too, man. Because the word on the street is Tommy DeVito's a little sore. Tommy DeVito's a little sore for him. Don't think he's gonna go. So we get to see Drew Lock on Thanksgiving in Dallas. So we'll see what happens with that. We'll see what happens with that. Jeffrey Harrell says I got a feeling we're gonna win. Something like that would happen, right? Right when we don't want the W's, like when we have the bigger picture, trying to figure out the bigger picture. You know, it's Shador, it's Ward. We're trying to get this quarterback, and you know what? We don't need the wins. Again, I will never say or openly root for a loss, but I do see the bigger picture. You won't get me to say it. You won't get me to say it, but we already know what it is. We already know what it is, man. But again, shout out to everybody in here. Again, happy early Thanksgiving. Hopefully, you guys, if your family already showed up, because you know some people, the family already showed up. You know, you got your card games going, your beverages are flowing, enjoying some family. So I do appreciate the people to hang out, you know, with me tonight. I won't be too long again. I know you guys. I ain't gonna keep you too long. We're gonna talk about this game though. So actually, before we even get into that, the saga is finally over. Daniel Jones signs with the Minnesota Vikings. Now, that was a team that was low on my radar. I thought he was going to maybe go to San Francisco 49ers. I heard somebody else talk about the Vikings, but, you know, it is what it is. What's going on, Born for Sports? What's good, bro? You know what? I'm trying to keep an eye on this Knicks game, too. They didn't start off too good against Dallas. They didn't start off too good. I don't know what the score is now, though. Happy Thanksgiving, Clinton. That's a fact. Again, hopefully you guys are enjoying your family or getting ready for family or going, you know, about to hit the road and go see some family tomorrow. Shout out to everybody. Safe travels for sure. Safe travel for your families as well. And hopefully, you know, a nice family holiday. Everybody gets there in one piece and also returns home in one piece because that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. What's going on, Mo? Mo2677 says, bought a new Michigan hat for Black Friday. Can't be seen with my Giants hat till we aren't trash anymore. I hear you, man. I still go out with you know what's crazy? I go out with my Giants hat all the time. And it's probably like a 50-50 that somebody's going to say something to me about the New York Giants. It's almost 50-50. I'm talking total strangers. They see the New York Giants hat and they have to say something. Sometimes it's good. A lot of times it might be bad. Most of the time actually is jokes. I do run into a couple Giants fans too, though, here and there. They don't know who I am, obviously. But yeah, I do run into a couple Giants fans. You know, we talk briefly, we share the pain, and then we keep it pushing. That's what we do, man. Born for Sports says they having an offshoot night. They're talking about the Knicks. I hate games on Thanksgiving Eve or a day after Thanksgiving. That's true. That's true. Shout out to Joseph in the building. He says, "Let's see what Locke has." We're gonna see that. I'm curious to see what it is too. And I said it last week. When Tommy DeVito got hurt and they brought Drew Lock in the game, I had the feeling like maybe Brian Dable wanted to see what Drew Lock can do. Maybe Tommy stays out, but he was only out for one play. And now he's sore and, you know, possibly missing the game. The last time I checked, they said he was doubtful. And then I saw Adam Schefter, you know, pretty much telling everybody to prepare for Drew Lock. But I'm curious to see how it goes, man. Dallas is coming off a big win against the Commanders. You know, I'm not going to say they're riding the high, but they are coming off a victory where they're able to put up a bunch of points. And maybe they're overlooking the Giants. Maybe we're one of those, you know, fix you up type games for the Dallas Cowboys. They need more than us to fix them up though. They're pretty much in the same boat as us. They got 2 more wins than we do though. But again, New York Giants need to see what the bigger picture is, and hopefully, I'll say this, man. Hopefully, the team doesn't quit on Dable, because that's the main thing that I'm looking for. I'm looking to see. I'm looking to see after what happened last week if this team responds to that loss, to that 30-7 loss. Will this team, pretty much get up, for the game? I want to see Dexter Lawrence being a leader, Brian Burns being a leader, because surprisingly, we had somebody step up and be a leader, and it happened to be a rookie, and he was criticized for it. I saw a lot of people giving Malik Neighbors a little bit of, a little bit of stuff, for lack of a better word, a little bit of stuff because he decided to be vocal. I'm glad that he decided to double down. He said he would, have said things differently, but he still stands on what he said. And listen, no matter where it comes from, whether it's a rookie or it's a veteran, somebody needs to say something. And I'm happy Malik Neighbors did. Dexter Lawrence does. Brian Burns is super stoic. So somebody has to be vocal, man. Somebody has to be vocal. Shout out to my man Rick Torch. He says time to lock in. Is that that's the saying now, right? That's what we're doing. Time to lock in. I'm with it. I'm with it. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens, man. There's a couple of things I want to see this season. Um, yeah, there's a couple of things I want to see this season. Number one on that list is I really want to see Jalen Hyatt get a touchdown. We can't go 2 seasons with this guy not getting into the end zone. We can't go 2 seasons of that, man. For his own morale, for development. I need to see Jalen Hyatt get into the end zone, man. I would love for it to be a big play too, hitting stride long down the sideline, smoke somebody down the side, and do it like that. That's what I want to see. But I don't know, man. Another thing I want to see Tyrone Tracy get his confidence back, man. Those 2 fumbles, the back-to-back fumbles in those games really hurt him. And you could tell that it's really playing with his emotions. He took it hard again. But listen, pause on that too. Pause on that. I can't talk about that fumble without talking about the play that was called. You get into the red zone, we get cute, you run Wildcat. Now, Tyrone Tracy has to worry about, is he going to hand off the ball or not? I don't know how much practice they got with that. I'm pretty sure they practiced the play, but how much practice? This is the first time I've seen Tyrone Tracy in Wildcat. Correct me if I'm wrong. But you know how it is with Wildcat. You got to hold it there as a quarterback, and then you decide whether or not you read the defender, decide to keep it or give it to the running back. That's a little bit too much to do in the red zone, man. Now, he shouldn't have fumbled. I'll say that, ball security is key. But why are you calling that play? Why are you calling that play? And that gets me into, I guess, my first point of the night, and that's going to be about Brian Daboll. Now, you guys already know how I feel about Brian Daboll. I want to know how you guys feel about Brian Daboll. I got an idea what how a lot of people might feel about Brian Daboll, but I'm not 100% sure. For me, I'm ready to clean house, GM and head coach. Some people, are ready to get rid of one or the other. I have one guy arguing with me all week about Joe Schoen. All week about Joe Schoen. And if you follow me on Twitter, I put out a post where they had every draft pick from 2022 to present. And then I asked a simple question. I didn't put any kind of I wasn't trying to lean or steer the people that read the question. I said, how many hits out of these 24 draft picks, how many hits on this list? And, what surprised me that the list was all over the place. I had some people saying as low as 2 people. I had one person say as high as 13 hits out of 24. And that's just, the land of make-believe, in my opinion. That's the land of make-believe, in my opinion. Thank you for the updates on the score, fellas. I appreciate it. Shout out to Clinton for that. My man Seti079 says Daboll is not a dog. I'll say this, man. It's not that Daboll isn't a dog. It's just that he's been leashed. I will say that because when he first got here, he always had the temper. He was always lively. But when we were winning in 2022, nobody really cared that he was over there blowing up on the sideline. We felt good about it. We were showing emotions. But when you're losing, you can't have that same type of, I guess, vibe, I should say. Or you can't be overly emotional because when you're losing, it doesn't really make sense and it doesn't resonate with a lot of people. So, but I do believe that Daboll does have some, like it's in there somewhere. He lost it along the way. It's in there somewhere, but is he too far gone to even get it back? I'm not sure about that. For me, again, I don't really care because I'm over it. We'll see what happens, though. We'll see what happens, though. Shout out to my man Good Eats Entertainment. He says, I pray the Cowboys blow us out tomorrow so we can not only get the first pick, but hopefully they clean house. That's where I'm at, man. I don't hope for losses. I'll say that again. Everybody's entitled to feel how they feel. I will never openly say I want the New York Giants to lose, but I always say, I get around it by saying I know what the bigger picture is. The bigger picture is getting the quarterback. That's for sure. But I know tomorrow, by the time the game starts, I'm going to be rooting for these guys to win. It happens every time. I can't actively watch a game and root against the New York Giants. I might as well just not watch the game at all, and I can't do that. I'm too addicted. My man John May says I feel like an idiot being pumped for him to call plays. You know what? And yeah, I'll talk about that too. Cause and John, you're in the spaces, man. You're in the spaces. I see you listening. Most of the time too. A lot of people are talking about, well, he's calling plays. Well, Mike Kafka did this. Well, there was a reason why he took play calling away from Mike Kafka. Because it wasn't good. But Brian Dable has been so bad that we forgot how bad Mike Kafka was. Like, he got his play calling stripped away because we weren't getting the results that we were looking for. Now, a lot of that has to do with the quarterback, offensive line, receiver, stuff like that. But there was a reason why Mike Kafka was stripped of his calling duties. There's a reason why he wanted to get out of here. There's a reason why he wanted to go to Seattle, and we blocked it. There was reasons for all that. We gave him the assistant head coach title and all that. Gave him a little bit more money. But he's not happy, and I'll tell you this right now. If this regime stays intact, if Brian Dable stays, if Joe Schoen stays, Mike Kafka is already ready to get out of here. I don't think they hold him against his will for another year. I don't think that happens. And then what happens? Are we elevating or promoting, I should say, Shea Tierney? Are we doing that and making him the OC? That seems like the likely thing. But for me, if the plan is to get a brand new quarterback, if we're picking number 1, number 2, number 3, we have to be in that top 3 to get one of these quarterbacks. If we're going to do that, I want to just clean house and start fresh, man. Now, we've had these discussions. I was in the spaces. We had good discussions about candidates for GM and stuff like that. And it was brought to my attention that John Mara really does not want to do a complete overhaul. Well, and then you think about it. Well, if you get rid of the GM and the head coach, it's a complete overhaul. But then a lot of people were talking about, well, you know what? You have the young guy waiting in the wings with Brandon Brown, and a lot of people like, you know what? You just promote Brandon. If you don't want wholesale changes within the scouting department, with a lot of the personnel, stuff like that, player personnel stuff, do you keep a guy like Brandon Brown? You relieve Joe Schoen of his duties. You keep a guy or promote a guy like Brandon Brown and keep a lot of the regime intact and let Brandon Brown possibly pick his own head coach. That's another option that's out there too. So you guys let me know about that as well. I know I'm asking a lot of questions, but I really want to know what people are thinking. All right, let me get to some of these comments. A man Mo2677 says, look at Dallas. Jerry plans to keep McCarthy. That's a mistake for them too, because McCarthy is a lame duck right now, man. But at least with them, you can say that they don't have their starting quarterback. Dak Prescott is out, but it was not like Dak was playing lights out this season, anyway, prior to his injury. But yeah, I did see that. Andre Mosley says Cowboys are going to win, bro. Happy Thanksgiving to you. Happy Thanksgiving, Andre. Happy Thanksgiving. And again, to everybody, I know it's a few more people joined in. Happy early Thanksgiving or Thanksgiving Eve, if you want to call it that. And also, again, I know a lot of people are going out to see family. If family's not coming to you, safe travels to all of your family. Safe travels going in and going back. Hopefully everybody gets back home. All right. Joseph Wilcox says, I think the team will respond. Players that have that pride will come through. If we do not turn the ball over, get to rush with the rush, LOL, maybe get a pick. Come on, man. Nah, listen, we're due for a pick. We're due for a win, but we're also due for a pick. And I told the guys today, I'm like, yo, I hear the way you guys are talking about this Dallas game. One thing the New York Giants have done at least once every year is win a game that a lot of people don't think they have no business winning. And this could be one of those games. Now, I know it's been a while since we won on Thanksgiving. So for me, I'm just sitting back like it could be one of those games where the New York Giants actually come out and look like something and actually, win the game. It's not far-fetched because Dallas is not a great team. Dallas is not a great team, but they, you know what? They're on a 1-game winning streak. Meanwhile, we're on a 6-game losing streak. So, it is what it is. And Vegas thinks that we're going to lose. I think the spread is still 3.5. It might be or 3, but it is what it is. Clinton Jones says, I feel like New York need a good coach like Andy. I'm assuming that's what you mean. Yeah. And that's another big debate, man. And I'll ask you guys that same question too. Like, if we do end up cleaning house, as far as a head coach, um, do you want an offensive minded head coach like we've done the last four coaches, or are you looking for a defensive minded head coach? I'm going to leave special teams coach out of it. Flashback to Joe Judge is too early for that. But I'm curious. Like for me personally, I think we tried offensive for a while since Tom Coughlin left. We had McAdoo, we had Shermer, Judge with special teams, and then we had Dable. These are all pretty much offensive guys outside of Joe Judge. And Tom Coughlin was a wide receivers coach when he was with us. But I want to lean more towards the defense. I think right now the New York Giants are better or have more players or impact players on defense. Let's go ahead and if we're going to choose an identity, how about we choose a defensive identity first and get these guys right on the defensive side, since that's where our superstars are, in my opinion. In my opinion. Let's see what we got going on here. Ramdre81 says Shane and B Brown spending a lot of time at Colorado practices, etc. Are they blowing smoke or are they all in on Sanders? To me, they've been there now, 3 straight weeks in a row? I think it's been 3 straight weeks in a row, outside of the bye week that they had. And like where there's smoke, there's fire. I mean, for me, it has to be true. I don't think you need to visit that many times for a cornerback or a wide receiver. When you're doing that type of traveling and you're going to see, the same team over and over again, that smells like a quarterback to me. I think they're just dotting their I's and crossing their T's when it comes to Shador. That's what I really believe it's going to be. That's what makes sense to me, I should say. So I do think that they might be all in on Shador. I haven't heard too much news about them traveling to see the Miami games, but I'm assuming the New York Giants have to be high on both of those guys. It's only two quarterbacks, in my opinion, worth taking in the first round. We'll see what happens with Jalen Milroe. A lot of people now are down on Jalen Milroe. His stock is falling a little bit. A lot of people saying that he might, it might be better for him to go back to school. We'll see what happens with that, though. We'll see what happens. My man Mo says, I would like to see what Daves can do with the QB, with the QB he chooses. If we still blow, then bye. That's a big chance, though, man, because you're not just like we saw it. We saw it with Pat Shermer. Pat Shermer was here. They drafted Daniel Jones. He wasn't their first choice, but they drafted Daniel Jones, and then Daniel Jones. That maybe that was his best year, was with Pat Shermer. Pat Shermer gets fired, and then the end is history. I mean, the next thing is history. You get Judge in here, you get Garrett in here, and you see Daniel Jones turn into a shell of himself. And then now, here we are today with it. Shout out to Wagner Charles. He said, would you fire Joe and keep Dable, or would you prefer to keep, like, if I had to pick between the two, I'm picking Brian Dable 10 times out of 10 over Joe Shane. 10 times out of 10, I'm picking. And I've explained that before why. Joe Shane's free agency strategy when it comes to free agents. We saw it on Hard Knocks, how he handles certain situations, not being able to correctly judge the market, saying that nobody is going to pay Saquon Barkley. We really didn't get any news on McKinney. They kept that under wraps, but we don't really know, if they offered McKinney a deal or not, or, the back and forth with that is. So for me, I'd rather keep Dable, because at the end of the day, Dable came here in 2022. He coached that roster to the playoffs and got a playoff win. That same year, Joe Shane had what? He drafted a bunch of guys that are either not here anymore or, not contributing. Outside of, you figure Micah McFadden and Kayvon Thibodeau when he's healthy. Outside of that draft class, Wan'Dale Robinson too, if you want to say that. But outside of that, man, no. I'm taking Dable over Shane 10 times out of 10. My man Born for Sports says, package deal. If you fire Dable, you got to fire Shane, because it will be awkward going forward. Like I said, that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at, and I agree with you. That's where I'm at. If you're gonna clean house the whole way. Don't leave one and leave the other. Don't send one off and keep the other. Again, they came in together, and I hate to say that. They came together. They got to leave together, because that's not true. But when you look at the performances, it's not just Brian Dable's coaching. It's also, what he got to work with. And we've seen it in 3 drafts where Joe Shane has drafted a position and then had to draft over it. Like he drafted Daniel Bellinger. And then now he drafted Theo Johnson, drafted over him. He drafted Cordell Flott, and then had to draft over him, with what's his name? With Andrew Phillips. He drafted Dane Belton, and then had to draft over him with Tyler Nubin. Like it is what it is. He drafted McKeith and Nzulu and had to go to free agency to sign guys over that. And we still have depth issues. Now, I'll ask you guys a question. Like, when we're not the only team that deals with injuries. And when you look around the league, when other teams lose somebody, a big name player, they don't just fall off the map or totally look inept. They don't do that. Aiden Hutchinson, pretty much injured for the season. He was looking like the defensive player of the year. He's gone. The Detroit Lions haven't skipped a beat. Not saying that they don't miss him, but they didn't skip a beat. They're still winning games. We talked about Andrew Thomas not being here. Well, when we played the Philadelphia Eagles, their left tackle wasn't there. Did they miss a beat? No, they didn't. And it's again, that's the way we operate. Like when we see injuries, we think the whole thing is over. Kayvon Thibodeau goes down. We had Aziz in that situation, but Andrew Thomas goes down. We're like, well, we're running around in circles trying to figure out, how we're going to solve the issue. No, if you have proper depth, the next man is up. And if you got quality depth, it's not going to be the same as Andrew Thomas, but you don't have the same feeling where it's all over now because Andrew Thomas is hurt. And I will say this too, and I know he just got the deal. We need to look at a backup left tackle or drafting a left tackle, maybe in this draft, not in the early rounds, maybe maybe in the 4th or 5th round, depending on who's there. There's a couple guys that I like in the 3rd round. But we got to start looking at that because Andrew Thomas is having issues staying healthy. And I think that's why he signed such a friendly deal, because he knew he had injury issues with the ankle and the foot. He got his deal done. He got guaranteed money. I think that's one of the reasons why that deal was so good, because he knows he has injuries. He just wants that security. And that's why his deal was so long as well, too. Pause. Is because he knows he has, the issues with the foot. But for the New York Giants, we have to go into security mode. And we need to start drafting tackles. Like we want to draft guards all day, UDFA guards all day, sign guards all day. But we need to start looking at this tackle market, too, as well. Big Blue Steph Forever says, what up, broski? As the days go by, the more I'm ready to clean house, GM, head coach, and let the new regime draft their quarterback. I feel you. That's where I'm at. I'm with you. That's exactly where I'm at. John May says, I think they really want Shador. I think so too. I don't see them at Miami either. But again, I got somebody I can reach out to on Twitter too to see, how often they reached out to Miami or scouts were seen in Miami. I gotta go holler at my guy there and get some more information about that. Good Eats Entertainment says we need a leader at head coach. That's a fact, man. Again, I'm on the Vrabel train because I want a head coach. I like a defensive head coach, and he's that. But I also want a guy that's a head coach, not worried about calling the plays on offense or defense. I need a head coach that's in charge of everything. One thing that's making me mad now is that Brian Dable, when the defense is on the field and the offense isn't playing well, he's over there on the bench with the quarterbacks. He doesn't even get a feel of the game of what's going on. Like, you can't be a head coach and do that, man. It's not. I don't think you do something like that, man. Shout out to my man Joseph Wilcox with the $2 super chat. He says defensive, so he's answering the question. I want a defensive head coach. That's why I'm leaning. Again, shout out to Joseph again with the $5 super chat. He says was watching the Manning show Monday night. They asked Vrabel where he wanted to go. No answer. I like him as our coach, defensive guy. Yeah, I saw that. I thought it was pretty good too. He wasn't trying to give things away. Right now, he's a consultant with the Browns. But I like Vrabel, man. I like Vrabel. I hate that people try to say he's from the Belichick tree. No, he played for Belichick. He never really coached under Belichick like that. But yeah, and also he carved his own lane too when he went to Tennessee. So I think he's a guy that's successful. I think he's a leader of men, and I think it would be a good move for the New York Giants right now. I really do. Big Dog Status says if they draft Shador, Dion is coming. No, he's not, man. No, he's not. And a lot of people are saying that same thing, man. And I understand why people say that. I don't know if you're joking, if you're serious, because a lot of people are serious when they say that. I see. But for me, as soon as they got that new commit, the number one quarterback, Juju Lewis, to sign with them, I just thought about it. Like right now, yes, Shador came with them from Jackson State. Shador has to step out on his own. But not only that, like Dion is building something. He's building something pretty good in Colorado. He has a lot of young kids where he can actually shape and help mold to become, good young men. And I don't think he wants to leave that opportunity now. If Shador leaves Colorado and then Colorado falls off the map, then you might see Deion Sanders try to come to the league. But I still don't think that happens. I really think that Deion stays. Now, as far as any kind of impact on the draft and stuff like that, I've been going back and forth with people debating whether or not, is Deion going to, pretty much veto the New York Giants from, drafting his son. And I don't think so. Now he did make it clear that there's certain places that are certain um certain things that he checks off as far as before his son is drafted, that some organizations got to check off some things. And I think that the New York Giants fall under not anything that he checked off, but we don't know what the coaching situation is going to be. We know what the ownership is. We know that even with Daniel Jones, we gave Daniel Jones all these chances in the world, 6 years to prove himself. You can't tell me if you take a guy like Shador or Cam Ward that we're not going to give those guys all the opportunity in the world to succeed. I just don't think that's I just don't think that's something that we won't do. I think we will give these guys a chance to succeed. So if you have an organization that's willing to put everything behind a franchise quarterback or a possible franchise quarterback, I think the New York Giants fit that, because we gave Daniel Jones all the faith in the world. I should say the ownership gave him all the time and faith in the world. Now they didn't put the best thing around him in the beginning, but it is what it is. I'm not going to argue over spilt milk when it comes to Daniel Jones, but I do like the comment though, man, because a lot of people are saying that Deion's going to go wherever Shador is, but I think he got a good thing going. Born for Sports says going to need an offensive mind if you get a defensive minded head coach, because it's most important. Coach bringing a new rookie quarterback. Yeah, now I understand that. Now, if you have a good quarterbacks coach, if you have a good offensive coordinator, then you're fine. You don't need your head coach out here chasing around the quarterback. And I'm not saying that's what you're not. I know that's not what you're saying. I'm just saying you're absolutely right. If we do get a guy like Vrabel in here, we're going to need one of those offensive minds in here too to help groom and turn this thing around when it comes to the quarterback. You have to build a system around that quarterback, not just try to fit a quarterback into your system. The good thing is that Shador has been playing in the pro scheme. His offensive coordinator right now is Pat Shermer. And one thing about Pat Shermer, he wasn't the best he wasn't even a good head coach, but he was a pretty decent offensive coordinator for sure. So we'll see what happens, man. We'll see what happens. Darian Edwards says we need a coach that's firm and knows how to develop a team, absolutely, and build a team and a culture. That's a fact. That now, for so long, like I don't know, like what is New York Giants coach? Not saying the team right now, not saying the group of players that we have right now, just saying New York Giants, that brand of football. What is that identity? For me, every time I think about the New York Giants football, I got to go back to the 80s. I got to go back to Lawrence Taylor, Leonard Marshall, Carl Banks. I got to go back. I got to go back to that. I got to, if I want to go to the 2000s, I got to think about Strahan and Tuck and OC and, Pierce, guys like that. Tough. JPP is another one. Like I need tough. That's what I think the New York Giants need to be. They need to be tough, physical type of team, beat you up when it comes to the defense. That's the identity, and I think that's why we need to go back to a defensive minded coach. We don't need to stop trying to be cute, stop trying to be flashy. Focus on this defense and let the offense come along. I think we got enough weapons on offense. We absolutely need the right quarterback. But I think with the weapons that we have, if we get the right quarterback, a lot of offenses coordinators should be able to succeed. Now, the one thing about Brian Dable is that he took Daniel Jones and tried to fit him in the mold of Josh Allen. We see it with the QB powers. Daniel Jones, yes, he's athletic. Yes, he could run, but he wasn't Josh Allen. We see it with Tommy DeVito last week. He's running design quarterback plays with Tommy DeVito like he's Daniel Jones. No, that's one issue. Well, that's another issue I have with Brian Dable. Instead of trying to fit these guys into your system, build a system that best suits your roster and the players that you have. Just my thoughts, man. El Jefe said, what's going on, man? What's going on? My man James in the building says, just fire them both. We all could have been a better a better roast? What? I don't know what you said there. I'm trying to figure that out. We all could have been a better He says, why would they let the job be on the line with the? That's what they decided to do. That's what they decided to do. They decided, and when Shane first got here, the first thing he did was make sure that he wasn't going to pick up the 5th-year option because from the outside looking in, he knew what Daniel Jones was. He knew what it was. He didn't pick up the 5th-year option on Jones. He did pick up the 5th-year option on Dexter Lawrence. And the crazy thing about that is this: remember, like Dexter Lawrence is fantastic, but going into that 2022 season, he wasn't the same Dexter Lawrence that he is right now. So when they picked up that 5th-year option, a lot of people were sitting there like, well, maybe they see something that we don't see. He's just been regular. And then, of course, Wink gets his hands on him, turns him into a nose tackle, and the rest is, history. But yeah. Stupid G. Yeah, I see you, man. Joseph Wilcox says, I was watching them. Oh, I already said that, right? Yeah, go on. Yeah, no, I read that already. My bad. All right, what's going on, Jaylee? Jaylee said, "What up, Dash? Happy early Turkey Day." That's what I said to everybody in the opening, man. Happy Thanksgiving Eve is what I saw people call it. But yeah, and again, safe travels to the people that are traveling to see their families, for sure. Let me get caught up. My man TP Way is in the building. Shout out to TP, says Peach Dash in the chat. Shout out to TP Way, man. Make sure you guys show him some love in the building. And I didn't say it yet, but again, if you're not following my man TP Way the Giant, make sure you follow his channel. My man Born for Sports is in the building as well. Make sure you go subscribe to those channels, man. Those guys put out good work, part of the Giants community, and they do good things, man. They do good things. Hopefully everybody liked the bye week show that the guys put on, man. I think it was a good look. We had a chance to discuss some things. And the funny thing about that is during that time, Daniel Jones was still a part of the team. I haven't got a chance to talk to Cop Pizzle yet since Daniel Jones has been gone personally. Like I've talked to him on not Facebook, but on Twitter and stuff like that. But I haven't got a chance to talk to him face to face. But I saw him on New York Revival last night, right? And it's funny too because a lot of people that didn't agree with Cop Pizzle then agree with him now because Cop Pizzle wants to clear this whole thing out. He's ready to get rid of everybody, and that's the type of time I'm on right now too. That's what I'm on right now. Oh man. Yeah, James Hollis said we also need the right OC. What's going on, Cloud Data Media? Everybody hit with the year. All right. There we go. Shout out to Blazing Brazen in the building too, man. So again, with Tommy DeVito, looks like he won't be playing tomorrow. We get to see Drew Lock. What are you guys really expecting from Drew Lock? What are you expecting from Drew Lock? Do you expect it to look a little bit different? I thought it would look different with Tommy DeVito, if I'm going to be honest. A little bit different. Now, he did get a couple hot reads and was able to throw a couple passes that was heat and got there pretty fast. But, like, in all honesty, what are you guys expecting from Drew Lock? I don't know, man. Now, I expect him to take the deep shots. I expect him, to take what the defense gives him. But is he going to push the ball? I don't know. That's what I'm trying to figure out now. If he can push the ball, possibly, maybe they don't go back to Tommy DeVito. And that's the slippery slope that Dable's on right now. Because you already skipped past Tommy DeVito for Drew Lock. Now, if Drew Lock gets in there tomorrow and he actually plays well, they're going to look at Dable even more crazy. Like, why did you skip over Lock for DeVito? The organization is lost, man. That coaching staff is lost. And I said it yesterday. These guys are cooked, man. They cannot make the right decisions to save their lives right now. Can Drew Lock be the guy to save somebody? I don't know, man. Dable pushed his chips in on Tommy DeVito, and look, he got one game out of him, and it wasn't good. And now you got Drew Lock starting, so we'll see what happens. My man John May says, I expect less checkdowns from Drew Lock. That's true. He is Drew. Rick Torture says Drew has experience, got to beat these guys. Like, listen, I hate the Dallas Cowboys. You're not gonna have me sit here and say I don't want to beat the Dallas Cowboys. I would love to beat the Dallas Cowboys. Would love it. I don't hate them more than I hate Philadelphia, and I absolutely despise Philadelphia. But Dallas is not too far off from there. Med Student Kane says Dable is in a lose-lose situation right now. I feel the same exact way. And I think that I think that Joe Shane lined them up. For those people that know what getting lined up means, set up. I think Joe Shane lined them up in that presser over the bye week when he talked about the strategy, when he talked about execution, when he talked about the game planning, and then we go and, and then we get our doors blown off, man. Yeah, you have that type of showing coming out of the bye week. Like we looked absolutely unprepared. Like Micah McFadden was playing. Micah McFadden was playing. Those guys were playing, but a lot of people are saying like it looked like the team quit. And then when you have those comments after the game, they're talking about people being soft or we played soft and stuff like that. I don't know, man, but I do believe that I agree with you. He is in a lose situation. The best chance he has is to actually win games. Like the only way you can keep Dable is if he actually wins games, and I don't know if that's gonna happen. I don't know. I don't like. There's no way that we get to the end of the season, in my opinion, and both of those guys are still there. You're not gonna have Shane and Dable both. It will have some amazing things would have to happen. Some amazing things would have to happen for them to keep both. I already think that Brian Dable's a dead man walking. I just believe that, but we get to see what happens. But again, how this team responds tomorrow, will let me know a little bit more whether or not this team is actually giving up and he's lost the locker room. And I didn't get a chance to look at the injury report today. I've been busy today. You know, um, I did see a couple of updates, but I didn't see. I know Illuminor's not playing. I did see that, so most likely it's going to be Hubbard playing left tackle. Um, but I don't think anybody else is out, right? Deontay Banks is one I wanted to check on. So if you guys know what the status is on Deontay Banks, let me know because that's one I did not see or I didn't get an update on. Oh man, Born for Sports says, "Don't worry, bro. They both they both ass QBs. I've never been impressed with Locke or DeVito. That Cutlass stuff never impressed me. I want touchdowns. I can cook that in my. I want touchdowns. I can cook that in my kitchen. Yeah, we can cook touchdowns. Yeah, we want that. We want that." Cloud Media says, "Let's just lose and get this over with. Season is a wash. Prime Junior or Cam Ward, here we come." That's the second person I heard somebody they called him Prime Junior. Who called him Prime? Somebody called him Prime Junior this morning. It was Charlie from Maine. Charlie from Maine called him Prime Junior this morning. I don't like that name, man. Prime Junior. I don't like that, man. I don't like that. It is what it is. So he'll get a nickname soon enough. Locke can't run, but maybe he slides in the pocket better and feels pressure better and gets the ball out quick. I think he does have a good arm. We will see. He does have he has an arm. His accuracy is not the best, but he does have an arm, and he can get the ball there. He can get the ball there for sure. So if he sees something, he's gonna let it go. That's for sure. When it comes to Locke, he's not gonna hold on to that ball too long. At least I don't. At least I hope not. I hope not. He didn't have the best preseason. That when we did see him in that little sample size that we saw, he didn't look that good. He didn't look that good. James Hollis says, "I hope we fire Dable and Joe and hire a coach with a winning record." He says, "But the QB we pick needs to have a development plan." That's what every quarterback, especially if you're drafting somebody high, you have to put the infrastructure in front of them. You have to build the scheme and the system around their skill set. That's something that we didn't get right with Daniel Jones. We saw it with Pat Shermer. Pat Shermer built or designed a system that suited Daniel Jones, but he was a rookie going through rookie growing pains. 24 touchdowns, 18 turnovers. That was him struggling. But you saw way more production on offense when they actually had a scheme for Daniel Jones. You get to Joe Judge and Jason Garrett, he just tried to do what they did in Dallas. It was button hooks everywhere, everywhere. Comeback routes galore. All right. Said Armand Smith says, "I hate to say it, but this is the last game I want us to win. If we're going to pick a quarterback in the draft, we need to be picking first." Let me ask you a question. Why is this the last one you want to win? Because it's Dallas, right? Because it's Dallas. I know it's because it's Dallas. Like no matter what's going on, it's like we need to lose. Nah, it's Dallas though. Nah, I feel that, man. I feel it. TP Wade says it's going to be the game. Is this going to be the game that does it for Dable? I said it too. I said, Black Monday is, that Monday after the last game of the season. Black Friday might turn into Black Monday for Dable if the team doesn't do what they're supposed to do, or look like they have any signs of life. Like we keep saying it, that Dable is coaching for his job. No, tomorrow he's absolutely coaching for his job. You can't get blown out 30-7 at home, be winless at home, after and then lose a game coming out of the bye week. Like, you had 2 weeks to prepare for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and they were on a 4-game losing streak themselves. To get blown out like that, no, you can't do that. And then now is Thanksgiving. It's not a prime time game, but it's going to be the only game, on at that point in time. So a lot of America is going to be tuned into that game. And if it looks as bad as it did last week, it's a wrap for Dable, in my opinion. They're just going to go ahead and grab Kafka and tell him, you're the interim. Let's see what you can do for 5 weeks. That's that. At least that's what I think. Aziz is out. Thanks for letting me in. That's right. Aziz is on IR. That's another thing I didn't get a chance to talk about. So they placed Aziz on IR. And the first thing that I thought about, I was one of the main people saying when they were offering a 6 for Aziz. I don't know what what team it was. When they were all, I said, I'm not giving Aziz away for a 6th-round pick. He's playing too well right now. And then the next week he gets hurt. and now you're probably going to go into free agency. He's probably going to walk for free if we don't re-sign him. And then also, because of his injury history, how much are you willing to pay Aziz? How much are you willing to pay Aziz? Now, before the injuries, and when he had those couple of games, we had a little bit of a spark and a hot streak, I was like, okay, I can see you paying Aziz, maybe a 2-year deal, because he's going to get a 1-year deal no matter where else he signs. The Giants are going to give him multiple years because we know him, but there's no other team in the league that's going to give him multiple years with that injury history. He's going to get a 1-year prove-it deal almost everywhere else. So with that being said, like, what do you pay Aziz if you want to keep him? I don't know. That's another position of need I think that we need to address in the draft as well. We need to get an edge rusher. I believe now we have 8 picks in the draft, and we have not counted what we'll get back for Ben Bredesen and what we'll get back from McKinney. At least I don't think we got the McKinney one back yet, but Ben Bredesen is going to give us a comp pick back too. So that's probably going to be maybe like a 5th-round comp pick. I don't know the exact math on that because it's like, I don't know. But what do you pay Aziz? What do you give him? I don't know. I'm a little bit less secure on my stance about re-signing Aziz, because okay, if we sign him, he gets a 2-year deal from us. What if he gets hurt again? And we need a third edge rusher. We won't have one tomorrow. How healthy is Kayvon Thibodeau off the wrist? Brian Burns, falling asleep on at the wheel. We got some things to do, man. Shout out to Kyle. He says, you think since the players hate how the regime has treated players so far, they will try to re-sign Slayton as an optic? Think like, hey, look, we take care of our players. I like Slayton. I do like Slayton. I think we're not paying anybody else in that wide receiver room. I like Slayton. It just depends on how much he's looking for. Because I was already going to bring back Slayton because we don't have another bona fide wide receiver 2 right now. We don't know what Hyatt is yet because we're not even giving him the snaps. Wan'Dale Robinson is more of a gadget guy than a wide receiver 2. He's just a default wide receiver 2 right now, in my opinion. To me, you still need a guy like Slayton with neighbors. Unless Hyatt can do something these last 6 weeks and make a lot of people believe, because I don't want to draft another wide receiver high in this upcoming draft. But to me, I'm like, you almost have to keep Slayton. But how much are you willing to pay him? What is he looking for? He seems like a guy that wants to stay a New York Giant, even though he's a little frustrated now too. But what do you give him? 2-year deal, 3-year deal? What is he, 26, 27 years old? He's probably going to be looking for another 3-year deal. What you paying, what, $11, $12 million a year? Because that's the going rate for a wide receiver 2 for the most part. He's not a wide receiver 1 where you're getting paid, $25, $30 million. But he's roughly, for him, and it sounds like a lot of money when you say it out loud, but it's really not, $11 to $12 million per for Darius Slayton. It sounds better if we were getting more production from him, though. Like if he was getting the ball, if he was 1,000-yard receiver, if he was like a T. Higgins, then you're probably like, you know what, that's a steal. But we don't have the quarterback play to even judge these guys correctly, in my opinion. Let's see what else we got going on here. Banks is listed as questionable. Thank you for letting me know. Um, Thank you very much, man. Student Kane says, Facts Dads, I just subscribed to the channel. Appreciate the love and support. Welcome to the family. Welcome to the family, Med Student Kane. And I do see the Hurricanes mascot in your profile picture. I'm assuming you are a fan. Now, are you a Miami fan and a Giants fan? I'm curious. It sounds like it though. You wouldn't be here, I guess, if it was if you were just a Canes fan. So I'm assuming that. But yeah, I like what Ward is doing. And again, I'm heavy on the Shedeur Sanders train, but trust me, Shedeur Sanders, my number one. Cam Ward is like 1A, 1B to me right now. I just like Shedeur a little bit more. Amon says he absolutely hates Dallas. I knew it. I knew it. Like I hate Philly. I know a lot of people hate Dallas more. My man James Hollins says it's hard to do bringing in a new coach before the draft. Like what coach will have a good plan? Like no, as soon as the season is over, you're gonna get that new coach in the building. You want to have him in the building by like mid January, because you already got to start prepping for the combine. You got the Senior Bowls and all that other stuff. So if we fire Brian Dable on Black Monday, we got to get another coach in here within like 2 weeks in order to get everything correct. Because once you start evaluating players in the upcoming draft and free agency and stuff like that, you need to have a plan in place. Like last year, we saw it in the Hard Knocks. We hired Shane Bowen. Shane Bowen told everybody, they were in that meeting. He told everybody in that room that he needed, what was it, 4 edge rushers. He needed 4 pass rushers, not edge rushers, but pass rushers. He told him exactly what he needed to run the type of defense he wanted to run. We didn't give it to him. And now you see, and this is another example where you have a coordinator or a coach coming over and trying to fit players into his scheme and not building a scheme for his players. We see it with Deonte Banks. Deonte Banks is not a zone cornerback. He is a man-press cornerback. Yes, he was handpicked by Wink Martindale. But when that's what you have to work with, you design a scheme that works for your personnel. Like we see it with Bobby Okereke. Like people are ready to throw Bobby Okereke away. Bobby Okereke is still that same player we saw when Wink Martindale was here. He's just in an entirely different role. We turned Bobby Okereke from an aggressive A gap, B gap blitzing linebacker to a coverage linebacker. If you look at the plays, he's covering hook to curl every play almost. If it's not run recognition, if he reads the pass, he is dropping back. That's not Bobby Okereke's game, but he's forced to play that way. And then we wonder why he's offbeat. We wonder why he's running around and missing tackles and stuff like that. Because obviously, he's a player. He has to he gets paid to play. But we see a clear difference of what we saw Bobby Okereke be and what he is right now. Sorry for the rant. That's just a little rant, man. Kenneth Perkins says Joe Shane has also ruined this roster. Then he had the nerve, a first time GM, to be cocky with his bad decision. Yeah, he was absolutely cocky. And he kept on deflecting. He kept on talking about how good this 2024 class is, and a lot of people keep running with that. So everybody's entitled to their own opinion. But I look at things a certain way, and you don't have to agree with me at all. I'll just tell you how I feel about it. Now, with this 2024 class, he's talking about Tyrone Tracy. He's talking about Malik Neighbors, of course. He's talking about Tyler Nubin. He's talking about Andrew Phillips. So that's a wide receiver, a running back, a safety, and a cornerback. So that's the guys he's raving about. Theo Johnson too, a tight end. So 5 different spots. Well, okay, these are the guys you drafted in your 3rd year. But guess what you did 2 years prior? You drafted a tight end in Daniel Bellinger that you ended up replacing with Theo Johnson. You drafted a wide receiver in Jalen Hyatt and Wan'Dale Robinson that you ended up replacing with Malik Neighbors. You drafted a safety in Dane Belton that you replaced with Tyler Nubin. You drafted a cornerback, a couple of cornerback and Cordell Flott in the 3rd round, and turned around and drafted Drew Phillips. And what? That was a 3rd round too. So the people that you drafted, you just replaced your old draft picks, and then you wonder why we don't have depth. You keep on replacing positions that if you would have got it right the first time, you would have quality depth with. But no, no. And these guys are young and forced to play. They're forced to play because they're the best players on the team right now. And let's just be happy that these guys are actually good rookies. Because if these guys were bad, oh my gosh. I don't know, man. I don't see it with Joe Shane. 110.93. So they no, man. How much time left on the clock? Was that the final? Was that the final? I got to check my parlays too. Nova Nebula, what's going on, Nova? He says, hopefully I'm in a full coma before the game starts. That's a fact, man. Get that food down before the game starts, man. You don't want to be feeling nauseous. Get your food down before the game starts. You might be actually, for me, I eat Thanksgiving twice that day. We eat early. That food is usually done around noon, 1 o'clock. So I'm usually eating around 2 o'clock, around that time, something like that. And then I end up eating again at like 6 o'clock. And by that time, it's a wrap. It's time to go to bed. It's over after that. So hopefully for you guys make sure you eat before that game starts. Make sure you eat before that game starts, and anything extracurricular that you do, make sure you take care of that too before that game starts. Or you might be leaving at halftime to take care of your business as well. My man Clayton Jones says, hey, Dash, what are you doing for Thanksgiving? Eating, bro. That's what I'm doing. I'm going to be eating the yams, the mac and cheese, the stuffing. I don't do turkey, but the ham, I do chicken. The vegetables, the corn. Listen, cornbread, the regular dinner rolls, that's what I'll be doing for Thanksgiving. And you know what else I'll be doing? Hopefully not crying because the game is so bad. But that's what I'm going to be doing for Thanksgiving. Laughing and joking with the family. Eat, put the game on, and hopefully they don't embarrass me again, because last week was embarrassing. Our man Smokey the Bear says, give me Cam Ward, but I want to see how he looks come playoff time against really good playoff teams. As long as they keep going what they're doing right now, I think they're back in the playoff march. They should. Well, anyway, they're going to end up winning the ACC, so they're going to make it anyway. But yeah, I want to see that too. And I was hoping freaking Colorado lost last week to Kansas. And let me tell you something. I knew about Devin Neal, the running back from Kansas, but boy, he had a coming out party. 4 touchdowns. I think he rushed for over 200 yards. He had him a hell of a game. But anyway, I wanted Colorado to win, because if Colorado would have won that game, I think they would have been in the Big 12 championship. I think they still got a chance to be in the Big 12 championship, because I think BYU lost. I don't know. I have to check, but they got close to actually possibly being, because who was it? It was not Boise State. Who was it? It was It was BYU, and there was another team that was in the Big 12 that was ahead of them. I can't remember it right now, but it is what it is. Anyway, they had a chance of making the college playoffs, so we would have got a chance to see not only Cam Ward playing against stiffer defenses, we would have got a chance to see Colorado. And listen, Colorado has struggled with some defenses already. That offensive line is not great either, but you see they still have a winning record. So that man Shador is out there, creating magic back there. What are you doing for Thanksgiving, Clinton? You let me know what you're doing for Thanksgiving. I told you I'm gonna be eating, man. That's what I do on Thanksgiving. All right, my man, my man Host the Harvest says, Dash, I feel you about drafting players to replace the ones you lost. That's kind of how I'm feeling about Sanders. He's not even the best player on his team. I'm having dreams about Hunter. Listen, man, hold on. Usually when you say something like he's not even the best player on his team, that usually like hits a little bit harder. But when the best player on your team is the best player in the country, because Travis Hunter, let's not get it confused. Travis Hunter is the best player in college football. So when you say that, usually it hits a little bit harder. When it's Travis Hunter, it don't hit the same because he's not better. He's not a better player than Travis Hunter. He is the best quarterback in the draft, though, in my opinion. Though. John May says, "Do you think Shador will play in the bowl game?" Nope. If it ain't the college playoff, nope. He is not going to play in a bowl game. Why would he? Nope. I don't think so. These kids nowadays, they don't do it. They don't play in the bowl game. I think Bo Nix did it. Bo Nix did it after Bo Nix did it. Michael Penix obviously was a championship, so he did it too. But a lot of these guys don't play, man, because Caleb Williams didn't, Drake May didn't, Jaden Daniels. I don't think Jaden Daniels didn't either. Like a lot of guys, if it's not the college playoff, they're not doing it. They're not playing in those bowl games, unless it's like I said, unless it's a championship. Let's see. My man Mark says, "Don't bank on Ward or Sanders. The QB class is average at best." When you say it's average as at best, in comparison to what? In comparison to the 2024 draft, like that was an outstanding draft. You can't compare any of these recent classes to the 2024 class. You had 6 quarterbacks go in the first, in the first round. To me, when you look at all the other draft classes around that 2024 class, it's right on par. It's right on par to me. Right there. And then when you do have like the Trevor Lawrences and stuff like that, the Herberts, those guys still need work too, man. So I mean, if it's average at best, it depends on what you're comparing it to. It's a regular draft class where you have just 2 quarterbacks that are considered, first round picks because they are absolutely first round talents. That's for sure. My man Colin Waters says tomorrow is a chance for Daves to show us that he belongs. McCarthy will attempt to outcoach us. Now that's a fact. I do believe that. Again, every game right now, Dave was coaching for his career. Every game, because they already planted the seed that he lost the locker room. That seed has already been planted, so he has to go out there and show. Not only it's not just about winning games; it's also are the players giving the effort. Like if we go out there tomorrow and the players are not giving the effort, he's lost the locker room. It's a lost cause, and you might as well just get rid of them, and it just is what it is. Now, if the team is showing some fight, the offense can score some points. Like, can we get a touchdown? Can we get 2 touchdowns? Could we even hope for 3 touchdowns? Can we get something going? Then it's an entirely different story. But yeah, he's coaching for his job every week from now on. Every week is going to be one of those games for him. And again, I think he's in a lose-lose situation. Joseph says, I'm an old school guy. He said, I lost a lot of respect for Joe Shane after watching Hard Knocks. That was a bad look, especially on that phone call to Barkley. It was bad. It was bad. Even like he was super phony. Like that call to Saquon Barkley. He tried an icebreaker. He's like, "Hey, you still in Jersey?" Like, and you heard Saquon's response. He wasn't trying. He wasn't here for that. Like, are you paying me my money or are you not? Forget the small talk stuff. And I don't think Joe Shane can help it. There's a couple strikes. Now that was one how he handled the Barkley situation, but also when it's time to cut guys, he admitted on Hard Knocks that when it's time to make those type of decisions, he defers to Brian Dable to do it because he has one of those relationships with the players. No, you're the GM. Yes, the coach is involved in situations like that, but you should not feel a certain way about going in there, having that discussion and cutting somebody. Because we turn around and saw the regular Hard Knocks, and Ryan Pohl, when it's time to do the 53-man cut down, he's in there cutting these players. He's doing that. It was a bad look. It was a bad look for Joe Shane. I agree with you 100%, Joseph. I agree with you 100%. Clayton said he's eating with the family and friends and watching the game. Listen, I don't know if everybody in here plays spades. That's something that, a lot of us do when it comes to, the holidays when family get around each other. We do have a tendency to play card games, and spades is one of them. It's for all those out there that know, don't get too excited. Don't get overly dramatic when it comes to those spade games because they can get intense. And just remember, that's family sitting across from you. Because it can get ugly quick in them spade games, man. Ugly. Ugly. Mark says Cam Ward stands down receivers. Watch Virginia Tech game. Sanders only B-rated arm and Quinn Ewers injury concerns. Sound like you've been watching Dane Brugler. And again, Dane Brugler is a quality guy. He evaluates it. That's his job to do that. Cam Ward staring down receivers. I do believe that Cam Ward does hold on to the ball too long. I don't think he plays in structure as well as Shedeur Sanders does. And as far as Sanders go, a B arm is good if you got good anticipation. A B arm is fine if you have good pre-snap and post-snap. And like I said, and you can throw with anticipation. That's what Drew Brees had. Especially when you have that anticipation, you don't need that Josh Allen arm if you have good anticipation. I think that's one thing that Shedeur Sanders has. Quinn Ewers, the injury issues, him being a smaller guy, him going back to college too. It seems like it might have hurt his stock as well. But Quinn Ewers is a guy that somebody's going to take a chance on. But again, I don't see Quinn Ewers as a day one starter or a guy that you take in the first round. Like, his stock has dropped. Same thing with Carson Beck. Carson Beck's stock has dropped too. He has a cannon of an arm. I thought he was more athletic than what he looks like this year, but this year was a bad look for him. So it is a down year. When you're looking at the quarterback class, it's a down year, but it's just two guys again at the top of this class. Not calling these guys Caleb or Jaden Daniels or Drake May, but these guys are the best quarterbacks, and I think they have plenty enough or just enough talent to be impactful players. But again, we'll see what happens. Now, I appreciate the comment though, man. My man Smokey the Bear says also we don't go quarterback. We get a bridge quarterback till 2027. Don't do it. Oh, I thought you was going with the Arch man. You said get DJ Lagway from Florida. If you don't know him, go watch the clip for a true freshman. He's got a nice deep ball. Yeah, I hated the way that the Florida coach coached this year. They went with the guy Mertz first. I think it was Mertz, right? And then, he wasn't getting the job done. They knew he wasn't getting the job done. They kept dabbling in DJ Lagway, and he showed some things. Again, he wasn't perfect either. True freshman. And then now you see him now, and it looks like they should have been playing Lagway from the beginning. I like DJ Lagway. Was he 6'3", almost 240 pounds? He's a big kid. Is he 6'3"? I know he got to be at least 225, 230 pounds though. He's a big kid, true freshman too. So I can imagine how he was in high school. I didn't watch him in high school though, but I did watch a couple of Florida games with Lagway. I like him. What's going on? It says Cloud. That's a Cam goes to Sin City. He's starting. Oh, you talking about? Yeah, he might. He said Kenny Ward and Sanders will be there at 1 or 2. What are you talking about? I'm curious. I guess I'm missing a little bit of argument here. Brother starting. You guys catch me up, man. Look like you got a nice back and forth going. He said, what do I think about the HBCUs? I think there's quality players in the HBCU. I like who's the guy? The old running back from Ohio State that coaches at Texas State now, Eddie George. I saw that he got Coach of the Year, but in all honesty, I haven't been watching HBCU too much. I think there's talent there. There's always going to be talent there. We see it all the time. They don't have the biggest stage to be able to showcase their their talents, but there's always a gym. And somebody always told me if you're good enough, the scouts will find you. So if you get anybody that comes from an HBCU that makes it to the NFL, best believe they earned it and they're highly talented, because it's harder to come from an HBCU and to get in the league. That's for sure. So whenever you see that happen, those guys are uber talented. Oh, yeah, it looked like we got a little back and forth going on. I'm gonna let you guys handle that argument or that debate in there. That's a fact, Blazer. Those spade games can be brutal. That's for sure. You got to have thick skin, and you better not renege. Like, they ask you how many books you have, You better be right, or your teammate gonna have something to say to you. You can't be like we look at each other and say, "Oh, we running wheels. We going wheels." Nah, man. You better be on point. It's been a while too, man. I ain't played in a while. John May says, "What do you think Shador's ceiling looks like?" Now, Shador's in a rare situation because usually they'll say, a quarterback has a high floor and a low ceiling, or they have a high ceiling. And for me, I think Shador is right there in the middle because he's already, as far as already playing in a pro style offense. I like his anticipation, his pre snap and post snap, and also was it Shermer was saying that last week that he has full control over the playbook. They line up, they have a couple of plays set, and he goes there, he identifies the defense, and he calls the play. That's what he's doing right now in college. So he has a high floor already with all those basic skills, but also he has a high ceiling. So that's why I like Shador Sanders so much, because he's not just one of those athletic, black quarterbacks that's running around making plays. No, he is actually what's the word I'm looking? He's an assassin, because he's not that athletic. And best believe we better be, well, people are lucky that he doesn't have the same athleticism as his father, because if Shador Sanders had the athleticism of his father, he probably wouldn't be a quarterback. He probably wouldn't be a quarterback, if we're going to be honest, because he could have played any other position. So him being not as athletic as his father makes him that much more better of a quarterback, because all, pocket awareness, all that. And he does have escapability as well. Again, I'm not trying to sell Shador Sanders because you already know what it is. I'm just high on him, man. I'm just high on him. James Hollison says C.J. Stroud has a B arm. Yeah, it's not super crazy, but he's just an accurate quarterback with anticipation. He is on a sophomore slump right now, though. Mark's been coming up with some good stuff, though. I appreciate you, Mark, for joining the conversation. Let's see what you say this time. Will Johnson is the deal. Watch the game he had against all-world receiver Harrison, and Mason Graham is unblockable. So are you a Michigan fan? I like Will Johnson. Mason Graham will not be there he'll be there when we're picking, but we're not going defensive tackle. I would love to pair Mason Graham up with Dexter Lawrence. He's one of those guys that I would love. Like, yeah, he complements Dexter Lawrence, but he'll be long gone before we pick again in the second round, because I don't think we go defensive tackle in the first round. But I'm a big fan of Mason Graham. Will Johnson, if you want to argue between him and Travis Hunter being the best two cornerbacks, you can do that too. Some people like Will Johnson at cornerback more than Travis Hunter. Some people do. That's a debate that we can have. Shout out to my man King One Supreme with the $4.99 super chat. He says, my dad is a Raiders fan, and the Giants play in Las Vegas in 2025. I want Shador and the Raiders to get Cam to view a Shador Cam game next year, and LV would be dope. That would be dope. That would be dope. That would be. Shout out to you, King One Supreme. Thank you for the love and support, brother. Mark says Sanders reminds me of a better version of Teddy Bridgewater with better pocket awareness. I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that at all. Teddy Bridgewater coming out, he was solid. He was solid. Next, Patty versus Josh. Who's Patty? Who? Talking about Patty Mahomes versus Allen. Man, Joseph Wilcox says, hey, Dash, I know everyone wants the Giants to get a 1-5 pick, but I think the players, if they come together and make a good effort tomorrow, that they will beat the Saints, the Colts, and then go at least 4-13 or 5-12. The Saints game, I think the Saints game is a winnable game. I do think that, and that's hard to say too, because right now I really do believe that we are like the worst team in the league. I really do believe that. Like right now, you had the Jacksonville Jaguars ahead of us when it comes to draft positioning, but I think the Jaguars could beat us. And like I said, it hurts. It sucks to say something like that, but I really do, man, because I thought we were going to beat the Panthers, and we saw what the Panthers did. And again, we don't have all of our players. I understand that too, but it's hard to say. But I think we end up picking in the top 5. I don't think we drop far. Like 4 to 5 wins seems right about right. When it comes to the Colts, I think the Colts are a hard game every time I got a chance to watch them. Their game, that defense is good. The offense is okay, especially if Flacco's playing. I don't like Richardson too much. Quentin Richardson, Quentin Richardson should have stayed in school. He should have been coming out. What was he, a sophomore when he came out? He should have been coming out like either last year or this year. Um, but it is what it is. It is what it is. But those are two teams that you could possibly see us winning the game. I can also say the last game of the season we played the Philadelphia Eagles, and if they have nothing to play for and they sit their starters, that could be another game that we possibly win. But yeah, I'm not trying to pick 8, 9, or 10. I want to be in that top 5 too. I fall into that crowd, but again, I'm not going to root for losses. I do see the bigger picture though. Rocky Fresh says Bridgewater was the truth before he got hurt. That was a nasty injury too. That knee was there. That knee injury was crazy. I like I said, I like Teddy Bridgewater. He was good in Louisville. He was good in Louisville. I can see where you can draw those comparisons to Shador. You know, yeah, I actually like that. I like that. I will say this. I do think Shador is better because Teddy Bridgewater wasn't talked about the way that Shador Sanders has been talked about. And again, I've watched every Colorado game. I'll be lying if I told you I was watching Louisville like that back when Teddy Bridgewater was there because I wasn't. But I've watched every Shador Sanders going back to even Jackson State. I've been watching Shador Sanders for a while. I didn't even think he was going to have the impact that he had at Colorado when he went there. I thought he was going to struggle, but you saw he was able to excel. And this year, he just keeps on getting better. So that's why I believe like his trajectory, is high for me. He says, "I see guys not hating on honest opinion." Nah, I don't hate. I don't know if anybody else. I haven't like the chat's been going. So yeah, I don't hate. I don't hate on honest opinions. I don't hate anybody's opinion. Like I'll debate and go back and forth with you if I don't agree with you, but it's never going to be argumentative. And I respect everybody's opinion. So that's definitely something you're going to get here. Especially if you're watching, if you're tuning in and watching me. I try to keep it fair, and hopefully, like I said, I'll let you guys go back and forth in the chat. If it gets super disrespectful, I'm just going to boot people. But you guys have been doing a great job being respectful and stuff like that from what I've seen. Again, it can get a little spicy here and there, but we keep it respectful. So I let the banter go. Absolutely. Cloud Data Media says Sanders is a black Burrow. Period. You know what's funny? I think that Cam Ward is more of like the black Burrow. Um, when you watch Burrow at LSU that last year when he set all those, not set all those records, but when he had that fantastic year, won the Heisman. He just run around making plays. He was operating in structure and also out of structure. Joe Burrow was nice that last year in LSU. I kind of see Cam Ward like that. When the play breaks down, he's down. He's always looking for the play, and 9 times out of 10, he's going to make the play. Now he is a little loose with the ball. He has fumbled a few times, so that might be an issue. But for me, that's why I like Shador Sanders more than Cam Ward. Like Cam Ward, he'll give you that run around Caleb Williams type, Patrick Mahomes type, where it's super exciting and stuff like that. But if you can operate in structure, go through your progressions and hit the open man, I'm fine with that. If you are accurate, if you're an assassin, I'm fine with that. Now the wild plays are also exciting, but I would like to see Cam Ward more in more structure. My bad. Quentin Richardson is played for the Clippers. Anthony Richardson, AR-15. Sorry, Quentin Richardson. That's a guy that played for the Clippers. And that's not the first time I called him Quentin Richardson. Anthony Richardson. My bad, man. Thank you for catching that. That's not the first time I did that. My bad. I'm pretty sure people knew who I was talking about. Hopefully, because I was talking about the Colts. So don't be too hard on me. Oh man, that's funny. Thanks for calling me out though, because yeah, that's not the first time I said it. Quentin Richardson instead of Anthony Richardson. It's a lot of names, man. Take it easy on me. Take it easy. Fighter's Destiny, what's going on? He says, imagine finally having a Giants quarterback with swagger. Yeah, both of those guys have that too. Yeah, I put out again if you're not following me on Twitter or Instagram or TikTok, make sure you guys go ahead and do that. I put a little clip together. It was a Shador Sanders clip with a little New York City background and stuff like that. People seem to like it. So you get a chance, go ahead and look at my my shorts. Or either go on what's it called, Twitter, to go ahead and check that out. I had the Biggie Smalls instrumental in the background, so I had to keep it New York. Had to keep it New York. My man MYG, man, VA1 is in the building. He says, I believe it will be Cam because the history of the Giants, they keep who they want to draft a secret. The only college they didn't visit was the U. Could be. Could be. Listen, I'm not mad at Cam. I'm not mad at Cam at all. Just get me one of these quarterbacks. Give me one of them. Give me one of them. I'm not going to sit here and split hairs at the end of the day. Get me one of those guys, please. Please. James Hollister says Anthony Richards, Josh Allen without the development, or Blake. Oof. Yeah, Anthony, and I said it right, Anthony Richardson, not Quentin. Anthony Richardson. Yeah, he has a lot of raw talent, cannon of an arm. Just needs to be refined, and I think a lot of people know that he just needs to be refined. He's not quite there yet. Not quite there yet. I do think that they're losing their patience in Indianapolis. We'll see what happens. They already benched him once, and they went back to him because they got a little bit of blowback. And also, Flacco's been playing pretty well. But we'll see what happens, man. My man Joseph with the $5 super chat says, "Hey Dash, what memes mean?" Cloud said he was going to drop that on me. LOL, I am 71. It's the memes. So memes are like little short videos. I'm sorry, not memes. What I'm talking about? Yeah, that like little short videos. That's what memes are. Yeah, I mean that's the best way I can explain it. Sorry, that's what they are. King One Supreme says if Dable gets fired, who would you want the head coach or OC to groom Cam? So you're already pushing that Cam stuff. I said it earlier. For me, I don't have an OC right now. I don't have an OC right now. I do have a head coach that I'm what they say, driving the train for. Driving a bus for, I should say. And I like Mike Vrabel. I want a head coach to be a head coach. I don't want a head coach / offensive coordinator. I don't want a head coach / defensive coordinator. I want a guy that's a head coach, and I want him to hire his OC and his DC and let those guys take care of what they need to take care of, and let the head coach manage everything. That's what I want to see, because we've seen it how many times now. We saw McAdoo head coach and call the plays. Shermer head coach and for certain in certain game call the plays. We've seen it with Joe Judge is not a head coach. And now you see it with Brian Dable, head coach, and now wanting to call the plays and not focusing on the defense. It is what it is. Hold on, what's gifts? I'm thinking of gifts. Thank you. Somebody explain what memes are. Memes are a pick. Oh, yeah. Sorry. I'm showing my age. Man. Ben Johnson from Detroit is an option. Yeah, Ben Johnson is an option. Last year he said he wasn't going anywhere. Last year he said he wasn't going anywhere. But to me, if the Detroit Lions make it to the Super Bowl and lose, Ben Johnson probably goes back. I think he wants to finish the job in Detroit. If Detroit goes and wins the Super Bowl, then I think he goes and gets his head coaching job. I think that's what happens. Louis Riddick at GM now. That ship is sailed. Yeah, I think that ship is sailed on Louis Riddick. I think Brandon Brown should get a chance to be the interim. He'll definitely get an interview. I don't know if he gets the job. And I said in the beginning of this, it was a discussion in the spaces, and they were saying, with John Mara, he doesn't want to shake up everything. That's why, the turnover, with the coaches and the GM, he doesn't want to do an entire overhaul. And the only way that he can avoid an entire overhaul is if he fires Joe Shane and then just promotes Brandon Brown. That's the only way that he can avoid an entire overhaul when it comes to the scouting, player personnel, and all that stuff. Obviously, the family members are not going anywhere because he does. We do still have a lot of Maras and his nephew McConnell is there, so those guys aren't going anywhere. But a lot of those scouts and other guys that didn't play personnel, those guys are might not be here. And I don't think that John Mara, he said as much that he doesn't want to shake up everything. So it might make sense that a guy like Brandon Brown might get the job if Joe Shane is gone. Oh man, it's TD Minor says Shane has that jackass, unlikable attitude. Yeah, he's a little corny too, man. He's a little corny. The jokes don't land. He's saying things that don't make sense. One thing that people pointed out was when he was talking to Frank Gore during I think it was the Northwest Shrine game. He was talking to Frank Gore about running backs hitting the wall at a certain age, and it was brought to my attention like he's saying that to Frank Gore. Frank Gore played till he was like 36 years old. Like you talking to the wrong person. And at the time, Saquon Barkley was a free agent. He wasn't a Philadelphia Eagle yet, and you're talking to Frank Gore about running backs hitting the wall at a certain age when this guy played 10 years after the so-called running back wall. Like you got to be more aware of situational awareness matters. Like you got to be aware of your audience when you're talking, and he doesn't seem to have that, man. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with him, man. He said, "Bring in Robert Saleh as defensive coordinator to help out Dable." Do you guys want to go back to a 4-3 defense? Shout out to my Luann Big Blue Face says, "Hey, hey, Big Daddy Dad, that's crazy. What's wrong with our Giants? We should have a better record. We lost games. We should have fun." Yeah, they ain't lying. I agree with you. Luann also says, "I predicted the Cowboys and Eagles would be on the bottom and the Giants and Washington would be on the top." Well, I was close. You was not, yeah, you halfway there. Halfway there. 50-50. And then we'll be all right next season. I hope so, man. Mez to the Kane says, "Hot take here, but we need to get rid of the Mara family." That's not happening. That's not happening. They're probably the worst ownership group in the NFL right now. I'm tired of them. No, they're not the worst. Carolina is the worst. Tepper is awful. Tepper is absolutely awful. And now Woody Johnson, with everything that's going on with Woody Johnson and the Jets, I got to put him there too. John Mara, a lot of people are mad. A lot of people are mad at Mara. And a lot of people, you can't fire a family though. He can only get bought out. That's the only thing that can happen with Mara because he's not like the guy in Washington where you got all these scandals and stuff going on and they force him to sell the team. That's not John Mara. John Mara is just a guy that seems a little bit lost. The Browns owners too. Yeah. My man Michael Hines says that would mean Burns and Tibbs will be on the line. That's that. Yeah, if you run a 4-3, I let's see. What did Carolina run? Did Carolina run a 4-3? Well, I know this. I know Kayvon Thibodeau at Oregon played with his hand in the dirt. I think that Kayvon can absolutely be a 4-3 defensive end. I think he can do that. I actually think he plays better with his hand in the dirt on the plays that he does now. I don't know about Brian Burns though. I don't know about Brian Burns. And the funny thing is, they're like the same size too. So, but to me, Kayvon Thibodeau looks bigger. I should say. Burns is a little more lean. But yeah. Pim says I wouldn't mind a 4-3 defense. Actually, it's that's we had it for a long time. That 4-3. That's what we had for 2 Super Bowls. We was in the 4-3. Yeah. Uh-oh. Joseph Wilcox says Belichick as head coach, Vrabel as DC, Josh McDaniels as OC. Let me tell you something, man. I like you, Joseph. I don't want Josh McDaniels nowhere near this team. Every time Josh McDaniels, well, when you keep him with Bill is one thing. When you keep him with Bill, I don't even know where Josh McDaniels is right now. But Josh McDaniels, he's a fraud in my opinion. He's a fraud in my opinion. I like Vrabel. I don't think the Belichick thing happens because, again, Belichick, he's already tasted what it feels like to be retired. He wants to come back. fine. But even if he comes back, he's what, 74, 75 years old? If he's here for what, another 2 years, maybe 3 years max, then you got to turn around and hire somebody new. And plus, also, Vrabel's already been a head coach. I don't think Vrabel's taking a step down. I think he's, he thought he might have got a job this year as a head coach. It didn't happen for him, and we're seeing a lot of young guys not being too successful. Not a lot of first year head coaches. I, Vrabel's market, he's going to be highly desirable. He's going to be a desirable candidate, head coaching candidate. I don't know, man, who will be the OC. That's what I need to. You know what? Maybe I got a couple of days off with Thanksgiving. I'm gonna start thinking about who could possibly be an OC that Vrabel could come in here with. I'm gonna start looking into that, or I'm just gonna start looking at candidates in general. I'll just start looking at candidates. Mark says Giants will be my Patriots 2.0 with that coaching staff. Yeah. So we go from like the so-called Bills 2.0 to the Patriots 2.0, and we already tried the Belichick tree with Joe Judge. We tried it. You figure, in all honesty, Dable is cut from that same tree too, a little bit. Him, Belichick and Saban. But we'll see what happens. James Hollis says Burns has no games with multiple sacks. I don't know if that's true or not. I think there's one game we had 2 sacks. I'm not sure, but yeah, it's not a crazy impact happening. He's made his plays though. He's made his plays. We need to get back to pass rusher depth. That's true, man. We're missing that. We're missing depth. Period. Like our defensive line, like that has to be addressed. Like in all honesty, outside of the quarterback, defensive line is probably the second. Well, no, cornerback's probably second most important, but defensive line is right there. Like I would probably double dip. I'll probably double dip at defensive tackle in this draft coming up. I think I would. That's that deep of a class too when it comes to defensive tackles. They got all all different techniques too when it comes to the defensive tackles in this year's draft. You got your 3 techs, 0 techs. You got them all. You got them all in this draft. Hold on, let me see what Joe said again. He said, "Second, I'm 71, chasing around 2, 3, and 4-year-olds around. Why not, Bill?" I mean, I hear you. And also, he'll be getting paid millions of dollars to do it. I hear you. I'm just saying, if he builds something, and it's actually working, let's be honest, like he gonna coach it to his 80s? No. If he builds something up and then he gonna turn it over and hand it to who? Josh McDaniels or somebody like that? No, I'd rather just start not from scratch, but I'd rather start with somebody a little bit younger, man. That way I can cheer for the next 20, not 20 years, but at least for the next 10 years. Get somebody. I thought Brian Dable was going to be the coach. After the first year, I thought Brian Dable was going to be here for like 10 years. And look how fast. His grandchildren, man. He's not chasing around his own kids that are 1, 2, and 3 years. No, 2, 3, and 4. That's his grandchildren he's talking about. It's only part-time when it's grandkids, man. It's full-time when you're the daddy. It's different. Like, he get to send them home at the end of the day and get some sleep. Grandpa got to sleep. Pop, whatever they call you. They call you Pop, Paul, Grandpa, whatever they call you. You got to get your sleep. You can't chase them around 24/7. No, sir. Yeah, what time is it? Is it what? 8:30? It's 8:30. Wrap this thing up, man. Again, I just appreciate everybody for hanging out, man. A strong 61 people in here. Again, make sure you hit that like button. Get the algorithm jumping for me. I appreciate that, man. Joe says, I thought about the defensive line when I saw Williams had a good game. We should have never got rid of him. What you're talking about Leonard? Talking about Leonard Williams? Yeah. Even right now, Leonard Williams is the perfect guy to play next to Dex, man. As soon as we got rid of Leonard Williams, we've been trying to replace him, and has not been hitting at all. Just think about, like, at one point in time, we had, if I'm not mistaken, at one point in time, we had Dexter Lawrence, B.J. Hill, and Leonard Williams. All 3 of those guys. And then we got rid of B.J. Hill because, it was Leonard Williams was here and all that stuff. But we had that for a second. What's going on, J man? Joe says lots of naps. I bet you can't chase around 2, 3, and 4 year olds without taking a nap. No, no, sir. Power naps for sure. James Hollis says, I feel it, Big Blue. I can see Giants being tired of developing a QB and go the Falcons route with who though? I've seen people say now that, possibly we try to get Sam Darnold from the Vikings. I, I don't know, man. I don't know. We're definitely going to have a bridge, though. That's something that's just going to have to happen. So we are going to dabble in free agency and get a quarterback here, even, no matter what we do when it comes to the draft. Because we've seen Tommy DeVito now for the second time. We've seen Tommy DeVito for the second time. And, yeah, like last year, I thought he played well enough to be the backup. We've seen him. And, again, it's a short sample size this year. So, I mean, it is what it is. So we're definitely going to go into free agency and grab a vet quarterback as a bridge possibly. My man Revis Alice said Dalvin Tomlinson too. Yeah, that's another guy that we had. Another one that we let go, and he's still playing. My man NYG man VA says so dash question. He says Dable was coach of the year with Kafka at OC. I know where you're going. He takes over the play calling now. The play calling is terrible. Well, I'll say this too. He didn't look good last year, and Kafka was still calling the plays to a certain extent. Still calling the plays last year too. For me, again, clean house. I don't even want to have that argument. Dable, gone. Shane, gone. Give me somebody new in here. Fresh and new. I said it before. I said this was going to be that year that lets me know exactly what this regime is. We had one good year, made the playoffs, one bad year. This was going to be a year to kind of see what these guys are. And it's been even worse. Even worse. I'm over it, man. I'm over it. And a lot of people don't want to change. I understand that. You don't want to start from scratch again, but I can't continue to go down this road, man. If you're driving the wrong way, at some point in time, you got to turn around. You can't keep going, man. You got to turn around. You're the second person to say that, Jay, man. It says, don't see the 2025 quarterback class being that good. We need a bridge. Like, regardless, you're going to get a bridge in here. How many, we saw New England last year. They went and got Jacoby Brissett knowing they was drafting a quarterback. The only team that didn't do that was the Bears because they had what's the kid? The kid whose father's an arm wrestler. I can't remember his name right now. Badgett, yeah, something like that. Bankett, something like that. Anyway, they didn't do it. And then who's the backup? Mariota is with the Commanders. They draft a quarterback too. Friggin' the Falcons went and got Kurt. And nobody thought they were drafting a quarterback, and they did. So, it's a lot of ways to approach this situation. Joseph says, how about the player who knocked the ball loose OT on Carolina? Knocked the ball loose in OT. Who are you talking about? I forget what player. I know Tracy fumbled, but who's the player? Said Dobbs may be from the Niners as a bridge. We saw it with Dobbs, man. Dobbs last year about a week and a half. We saw it in Arizona. We saw it in Minnesota last year. He went in there and got those guys some games, or won some games. But no, Dobbs is like a guy that lasts. He's not a bridge. I wouldn't call him a bridge. He's a guy that could be in a quarterback room for sure, but I don't think he's a bridge. Derek Jones says in 2022 we ran a different offense. Yeah, we did have a different scheme. It's a little bit more creative as well. They still dumbed it down for Jones though. There was a lot of one read stuff, happening, and then they also relied heavily on Saquon Barkley as well. So, yeah, no, it was a different offense. It was called a different way too. Absolutely. TD Minus says, I told y'all DJ Benching wasn't enough. The streets need a body. That's a fact, man. That's a fact. So the guy Robinson from Carolina. I got to think. I mean, listen, I buried that game already. I'm trying to think. You said he was a rookie. Yeah, I don't know who the guy was. I don't remember. Isaiah says Giants need to go back to drafting bad guys because good guys finish last. That's true. We had one of the worst bad guys in Lawrence Taylor, and you saw helped us win 2 Super Bowls. Bad man, still considered the best defensive player or one of the best, well, the best player in the NFL. Shout out to Ronnie. Ronnie in the building. What's going on, Ronnie? I don't know how true that is, Derek. He says that the Giants kept the offense they had in 2022, they would have continued having success. They did in 2023. That was the same offense. He was calling plays. It wasn't working. It wasn't working. Said Dobbs is good for 4 weeks every chance he gets. That is a fact. Shout out to Thomas Darby. Says happy Thanksgiving, Big Blue Nation, Big Dash. Love the show. I appreciate you. Oh, I must have missed something. It's Education Unpacked. Let me go back, see if I can find it. Education Unpacked says Shane never considers the possibility that he might be wrong about something. He is pompous. He said, but not nearly as bright as he believes. That's a fact. We've seen it. Hard Knocks exposed him. He thought he was the smartest person in the room. And the crazy thing about that, too, is he went and like the staff that he hired, the staff that Shane hired around him, that's a good staff. There's a lot of experience on that staff. The problem is he doesn't listen to anybody. Ryan Cowden has GM experience. Brandon Brown came from Philadelphia, has a lot of experience. It's a lot of good people in the building. He doesn't listen to anybody. You saw it in Harden. Like they were asking him questions like, okay, if we let Saquon Barkley walk, what's going to be our identity? They asked him these questions. He thought he was right. He felt like he was right. John Mara came in there. You saw how he looked. You saw how disgusted he was when he found out that Saquon was gone. And those guys asked him those questions. He didn't know how much money Saquon was going to get. He didn't think people were going to pay him the amount of money that they paid him. They obviously did. And the guy told him, he said, who's going to pay Saquon that kind of money? A team with money is going to pay him. And that team happened to be the Philadelphia Eagles. I remember him reading the text messages. He was like, oh, I'm reading that the Philadelphia Eagles are out and the Chicago Bears are driving the price up. That's what he said. And Mara's sitting right there. And he told him, I'm not going to be able to sleep. I'm not going to be able to sleep if Saquon Barkley goes to Philadelphia. And do you think John Mara's sleeping right now? He's not getting any sleep. Saquon Barkley could legitimately be the MVP of the league. He just might make it. He might be the first non-quarterback MVP in a long time. You know Mara's not getting any sleep. You know it. Ashawn Robinson, I got you. Ashawn Robinson, former New York Giant. Yeah, we let him go too. I mean, he had injury issues, but we let him go too. Ashawn Robinson, thank you. Sheesh. I got you, Bill. Appreciate the $2 super chat. Ashawn Robinson, yep. Rocky Fresh says Justin Fields would be a good pickup. I don't know if Pittsburgh has a decision to make at the end of the season. Obviously, I think they bring back Russell Westbrook, but depending on how much money Justin Fields is looking for, I think him being mentored by Russell Wilson is a good idea. If he can take a couple years to develop, because Russell Wilson probably got another 2-3 years in him, possibly. If you can keep Justin Fields at a good price and him be your backup quarterback, why not just keep things the same? They're already not going to be picking. They won't be picking a spot to pick a quarterback unless they go like in the second round, third round, something like that, or they get a developmental guy. I think they keep it the same. I think they keep it the same. DJ did get hurt that year. I know he did get hurt. Absolutely. Was who better than Ray Lewis? Was who better than Ray Lewis? My man Casey legit. What's going on, Casey? He says this team needs to go back back to B. Jacobs and the Ma Bradshaw days. Let's get an OC from the Ravens staff and bring in Braves as head coach. True. True. Oh, you talking about Lawrence Taylor? Was Lawrence Taylor better than Ray Lewis? Absolutely. Absolutely. And Ray Lewis was fantastic. Lawrence Taylor was him. Was absolutely him. Period. Changed the game. Changed the game. He was doing stuff in the 80s that you see guys doing now. He wasn't crazy big. He was, what was he, 6'3", 250, I think. How tall was Lawrence Taylor? I don't even remember. The whole point was he was doing things. He's the reason why edge rushers are called edge rushers, not just outside linebackers. He's the prototype that people are still looking for. A disruptor. Did it all. Heck, yes. Yes, he was better than Ray Lewis. And when you get a chance, look him up, man. Look him up. Man. Ray Lewis was nice, though. He wasn't Lawrence Taylor, though. Not at all. Yeah, I got you. I got you now. I got you. I caught I'm trying to get caught up to the comments. I'm way up here. Clinton Jones says, who's the best running back in the league right now? Saquon Barkley is the best running back right now. Then Derrick Henry. McCaffrey barely plays now. The injury. Who's after that? I don't know. But those are the two top guys right now. There it is. Derrick Jones let you know Lawrence Taylor was the greatest football player ever. Facts. Facts. You may say, wow, I'm telling you, man. Listen, man. First of all, no disrespect, JB Bronx. How old are you? And I don't mean that in a disrespectful way. I'm just curious. How old are you? 6'3", 237. Yeah, something like yeah. Joe Mixon's top three. Yeah, I like Joe Mixon too. Alan Page was also MVP. Okay. Okay, got showing some love from Hawaii. Tiptoe 253. What's up from Hawaii? What's up, Big Dads? What's going on, Tiptoe 253? This is my first Tiptoe. I think I would remember that name. If you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button, man. Because I remember the name like Tiptoe. He said, I'm 27 and started watching when they won against the Patriots in 2012. That's fantastic. Guess what though? It's been a hard 12 years since 2012, right? Right. It's been a hard time, man. It's been a hard time. We're gonna get back to the glory days. We got 5 years of winning the Super Bowl to keep the decade streak alive, and I'm gonna stick to that. We got into 2029 to win the Super Bowl to keep this streak alive. So that's what my target is. Uh-oh. NYG man VA1 says, Dash, let's keep it 100. Saquon wouldn't be as good as he is on this team. Philly is 1,000. I can't argue with you. That's true. That's true. We knew that. We knew that. We knew that as soon as he left. I hate that he went to Philly, but we knew that as soon as he left. That if he goes anywhere that has a good offensive line, he was going to go off. We thought possibly he was going to go to the Texans. I thought he was going to go off. And yeah, that's what it is. That's what it is. Yeah, no, I said it. I've tweeted the same thing. No, he wouldn't be the same Saquon Barkley. He wouldn't be. He wouldn't be the same if he was here still this year. No, it's because he's over there. Shout out to Two Giant Goofballs. Again, this another content creator. Shout out to my man. I believe most likely this is Drew right now. I'm pretty sure this is Drew checking in. Let me know if it's not Drew. But if you guys are not subscribed to Two Giant Goofballs, I suggest you go ahead and do that. Shout out to them. Fantastic shows. They put out shows frequently, frequently throughout the week. Always putting out good content, man. So if you're not subscribed to Two Giant Goofballs, make sure you guys go ahead and do that, man. All you gotta do is click on the icon, and it should take you to the page where you can subscribe to the channel. Make sure you guys check them out too, man. Mark says, defensive back at heart, I will also say Ronnie Lott is the greatest player along with Jerry Rice. Anyone who cut his finger to play gets my vote. Yeah, that's right. Was it that he jammed it? Did he jam it and then he decided, he said, yeah, just cut the tip of the finger off, and they taped it up and he kept playing? They don't build guys like that anymore. They don't do that anymore. All right, it is Drew. What's going on, Drew? Nah, man, it's all love, man. Again, you guys put out good content, good work, man. Again, make sure you guys are, subscribe to Two Giant Goofballs. Again, they do great work. Keith R, what's going on, Keith? He says, is Dave's that oblivious to coaching this team and calling plays, or is it deeper than what we see? I think he is oblivious, because it's happening too often. It's not like he just made a mistake and it was like a one-time thing. No, he gets into certain situations and he makes the same mistakes over and over and over again. Like, we barely get into the red zone. And every time we get into the red zone, he wants to get cute. No wonder we're dead last when it comes to red zone. I mean, it is what it is. Lot was a savage. That's true. He said, I think it's deeper, bro. No, listen, I'll say this. I think that Brian Dable lost his confidence. I will say that. He's coaching way differently than he did before. I do think that he's stressed out as well. There's a lot of pressure with this job, especially when things are not going your way. Every time he's at the podium, that they're asking about his job, they're asking about they're second guessing, his decision making. He's getting that all the time, and he's hitting us with the same answers. That man is operating under a lot of stress. Let's be honest. But it's also deserved, because he's the one making the mistakes. He is the head football coach. But no, could it be deeper than that? Yeah, I think he wasn't confident in DJ. We saw it with some of his reactions on the sideline, or overreactions, I should say. And to me, he looks like he's a guy that's stressed out and knows he's coaching for his job. So yeah, he is oblivious in certain occasions, like time management. What takes him so long to get into up-tempo offense? The only time the New York Giants are really moving the ball is when we go up-tempo, no huddle. Why does it take him so long? Why we got to be down 14 points and they got to be in the second half for you to go up-tempo? It's just things that I question. Let's see what else we got going on here. All right. I said Rocky Fresh says we will almost have 70 million in cap space. We can definitely make some off-season moves. Yeah. Nah, we're gonna have a lot of money. And then 70 million this year. Did you see the 2026 cap? Over 100. I mean, we got a lot of players to sign too, because I believe we only have like 18 players on the contract right now for 2026. But it's going to be a lot of money to operate. This team is going to look entirely different in 2 years. Another reason why I need, with the lack of success we're having with the draft picks and free agency in certain occasions. This year was probably our best free agent class and our best draft class. This team's going to look a lot different in 2 years. All right. My man Drew says, scary thing is we get 3 red zone opportunities per game on average. The last 3 weeks we ranked 15th. So we are average. Med Student Kane says, Colin Cowherd said something interesting the other day. The Giants are the accounting firm of the NFL, because even when they won Super Bowls, they were boring doing it. Oh boy. Maybe we need to be boring again. I'm not going to subscribe to that. I do think that like I can't call maybe the offense was boring in those years. But I can't even say that. Like the years where we had Victor Cruz and Hakeem Nicks when we got that Super Bowl, the regular season was something, but we turned it up in the playoffs. What was it 2007 when we had that playoff run? Eli Manning still has the record for most yards in the playoffs, if I'm not mistaken. He had over 1,000 yards just in the playoff games. I mean, and I believe that record still stands, if I'm not mistaken. Well, I mean, so off season was one thing, but when we got into those playoffs in 2007, and then for the 2012 Super Bowl, we got into the playoffs and made things happen. Dable's coaching has destroyed this team. Mark says Giants need to go back to Giants football, the defense that will rip your head off, and tackling terrorists, running the ball and make safe, smart throws by a quarterback. Nah, I agree, man. We got to get back to that. Absolutely. Said Lawrence Taylor had a dislocated shoulder and beat the Lions on Thanksgiving 1982, scored 6-6. He went 97 yards for the game-winning pick six. I remember that. I remember that one. He just caught that too and took it to the house. I remember that one. Down the right sideline, if I'm not mistaken. Down the right sideline. And I don't remember that real time because I wasn't even born yet in 1982. But I remember remember that highlight. That was a year before I was born, actually. 5'8" can't help but be short. Oh man. Again, shout out to everybody that's in here, man. We about to wrap this thing up. Get ready for this game tomorrow. Let you guys enjoy your families and stuff too. Get to a couple more. Make sure I didn't miss any other super chats, which I think I did. Shout out to my man Cliffside with a $2 super chat. He says, how many dogs do we have on this roster? That's a fantastic question. Dogs. Now, the definition of dogs can be different for different people. The definition of dogs can be different for other people. I'll say this. Dogs is a mentality, not just how good of a player you are. It's a certain mentality that you have. When you think about dogs, you're just thinking about mean, tough, vicious. And we have good players. We have exciting players on the roster. But I don't see anybody as being vicious. As good as Dexter Lawrence is, he's almost like a happy guy that'll just kick your butt and smile at you at the same time. That's what I think of when I think about Dexter Lawrence. He is too happy. Like he will he will beat you into the ground, but just smile at the same time. I don't think we have anybody that's just vicious or has that dog mentality. I'm really thinking like who has that? Not even a guy on the offensive line. I don't think has that mentality right now. I don't see it. Like I'll throw out a name, and this guy wasn't even the best of player. Like Nick Gates was a dog just in his attitude. Justin Tuck was a dog, and he had the bowing, like the namaste type of celebration, but he was a dog. I don't think we have one. Pierce, I can say Pierce too. Pierce was a dog. I see somebody put 58 in there. That's Pierce. Malik Neighbors is a dog. Neighbors has that attitude. I wish he can get the ball more in stride, and we can see exactly what it does. Neighbors is a dog. Bobby O, I don't know. You know who else? No, Andrew Phillips. Andrew Phillips is a dog. Andrew Phillips is a dog, but Neighbors is a dog, and that's bad because that's two rookies. I think Kayvon Thibodeau has dog tendencies, but just not getting there enough. JMS, he said JMS before last. Yeah, Vita Vea is something else, man. I don't know about Bobby O, man. Bobby O's a good player. He's solid. But I think Micah McFadden has more dog in him than Bobby O, though, if I'm being honest. Nubin is a dog. I'll give Nubin that. Nubin He gets in there. He throws his head in there. But Drew Phillips, not it's not just at times. It's not just at times. Joseph Phillips is a dog all the time. All the time. He has that mentality all the time. Tracy and Nubin. Tracy's borderline. I'll say Tracy's borderline. He runs angry, and when he gets up, I like the way that he flexes. Yeah, uh, yeah, he's borderline. Tracy's borderline. Newman is a dog. Phillips is a dog. Neighbors is a dog. And Trey, it's crazy because like most of them is rookies. Most of them are rookies, man. Oh man, we almost hit the 2 hour mark. That's crazy. I usually don't go this long. This is hey, listen. This is what my man Drew. Drew, you do the 2 hour. You do the 2 hour. Where'd he go? So you do the 2 hour. The 2 hour shows. I don't normally go for 2 hours. We having fun tonight though, man. I'm about to get out of here though, for real. That's a fact. We're gonna wrap this thing up. Giants losing to Dallas tomorrow is a big blessing. 450 red zone. A lot of people feel that way, man. The bigger picture. We know what the bigger picture is. What happened to Elijah Chapman? I don't know. You know what? Let me go ahead. I'll go on my refrigerator. I'll check my milk carton to see if I can find Elijah Chapman back there. Because I don't know where he is. I don't know where he is. He says, Dash, can you answer my comment before? Oh, let me go find it. Where we at? I saw the Tracy and Newbin. Okay, oh, here we go. Dash, am I the only one that noticed that neighbor's footwork is hella lazy? Uh-oh. It's not that convincing. He drops quite a few passes. Nah, you're absolutely right. Who was it? It was Brian Dable. Well, prior to last game, Neighbors was talking about Tommy DeVito, and he said that Brian Dable had told him, you know what, expect that ball as soon as you get out of your breaks because he'll throw some heat at you. And I'm sitting here thinking like, okay, why is he telling that to Malik Neighbors, and why does Malik Neighbors feel like that's important to share? But when you see the game, yeah, like there were a couple passes last week. One Neighbors did catch. It was one over the middle, and that ball got to him so fast you heard it when he caught it, and he bobbled it too. And then there was another back shoulder throw on the left sideline that he ended up catching, but it looked like it was a drop, but he caught it and controlled it long enough, and then it got slapped out. Yeah, it might be a little lazy, but I don't know if it's his style and how he runs his routes, because his arms, if you look at his arms are loose. Even when you look at him outside of pads, when he runs his routes, his shoulders are loose, his arms are loose when he runs. So maybe that looks a little bit lazy. It's not like the Steve Smith type when you're jumping out of your out of your routes or out of your breaks. So you might be right, but it could be that. And he does need to hold on to the ball. He does. We can be honest here. He does. Hopefully that answers your question. Yeah, there we go. That's how we're gonna end this right here. NYG, New York, New York. Let me make sure I don't have any more super chats. I think we're done here. Yeah, I hit that one. Okay, perfect. That's how we're gonna end this, man. This says one last thing: the Eagles suck. I can agree. I can agree with that. Oh, I got another question. Is he what? Hold on. Well, KC legit. You said a good training camp story. Is who a good training camp story? Excuse me. Is who? Oh, we talking about Elijah Chapman? Lock starting tomorrow. Yes, Lock is starting tomorrow. JV out. Okay. Yeah, man. We're gonna get out of here, man. We're gonna get out of here. We're at the 2 hour mark. Again, for everybody, tomorrow is Thanksgiving. Yeah, it's not quite midnight yet, so tomorrow is Thanksgiving. Make sure you guys are safe. If you got family coming to you, safe travels for the family coming to you on the way there and on the way back home, because that's the biggest thing. It's a family holiday, and hopefully everybody is enjoying their family. If you have loved ones that passed, my condolences and stuff like that. But this is a good time to have those memories. And again, to just share these moments with your family, because at the end of the day, family is what we have. That's our legacy and stuff like that. So for everybody out there, hopefully you guys have a fantastic and a safe Thanksgiving. Don't party too hard. Well, actually, there's no, a lot of people are off the next day. So enjoy your family, enjoy the food, and shout out to everybody that's in here. And with that being said, I want to thank everybody for vibing with me. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And from one Giants fan to another, this is Big Dash Knows, Big Blue Nation. I will see you tomorrow for the post game. I'll see you tomorrow for the people that tune in. Maybe it might be a celebration or a therapy session, but let's go.